Hi and welcome to the ThruNite channel. So in today's video we're going to be comparing ThruNite's new model, the BSS V6, to a bunch of different flashlights. First off, we're going to be comparing it to the V5, the previous version, as well as a couple lights from Olight. We have the Olight Warrior Mini 2. Next up we have the Olight Warrior 3S. We're also going to compare that to a light from Fenix. This is the PD35 version 3. And then on the end here we're going to compare it to a Streamlight light. This one is the ProTac HL-X. So first I'm just going to go over some prices and some high outputs. Of course, that's what everyone wants to know. What's it cost and how bright can it get? So left to right, first up is the BSS V6. This currently costs $49.99, has a high output of 2,000 lumens. The older version, the BSS V5, has a price tag of $62.99 on Amazon currently, and this has a high output of 2,676 lumens. Next to that we have the Olight Warrior Mini 2. Current price tag is $89.98 and has a high output of 1,750 lumens. Then we have the Olight Warrior 3S that has a price tag of $119.95 and has a high output of 2,300 lumens. Then we have the Fenix, the PD35 version 3.0. Current price tag is $78.99, has a high output of 1,700 lumens. And then on the end here, the Streamlight ProTac HL-X has a price tag of $89.95 and has a high output of 1,000 lumens. Alright, so the ThruNite BSS V6. Alright, beautiful flashlight. The very first thing you notice is its massive crenulated bezel. This is fantastic for two different things. First is self-defense. Alright, this can be used for impact striking. You can twist. It's really kind of gnarly in that sense. But also, if the light is placed down when it's on, it's very easy to see that it's on. Alright, so you can go ahead and shut that off to conserve your battery power. If you're not into this very extreme crenulated bezel, it does in fact screw off, which is very nice. All right, so you do have that option to take it on and off. All right, this is something that has been pretty consistent with the BSS line, so I'm glad to see that the new version has it as well. All right, so there is a tail clicky on here. There's also two wings, all right, to prevent that from accidentally getting hit easily. Also, this one can tail stand in the proper situations. I have a textured table that's underneath this mat. All right, so it's a little bit harder to balance, but it does tail stand if need be. Also has a side switch. All right, so we have the reverse clicky, which is very good for tactical uses. Once the flashlight is on, all right, you can use the side switch. You can see there is a battery indicator. All right, so blue is good, red means you need to be charged. It is that simple. So the UI is very easy to use. All right, it does have mode memory. So let's say you want the medium mode. All right, turn it off, turn it back on. It's going to stay in that mode. All right. But of course a lot of us like the highest output. Now you notice that with the crenulated bezel we do get this kind of gear pattern or flower pattern, all right, that will affect the beam shot, but only close up, okay? About 2-3 feet out or whatever, it starts to dissipate and so it becomes a large circle. But you know, if you don't like that, again, you can take that off. All right, just wanted to make that quick note. But in the beam shots that I'm going to provide later, the crenulated bezel is in fact on there, okay? So you can see what it looks like with it attached. All right, take this cap off here. Check out the battery for this one. This one is a ThruNite branded 18650 C3400 milliamp hour. All right. So this flashlight is a slight difference between the old one, and before I get into the old one, I just want to kind of compare them together. Visually, you can see they're very, very similar, but they do have a different texture pattern on the handles here, as well as on the tail cap. You can see the new version has kind of an upgraded, you know, knurled effect, so it's just easy to grip that, whereas this has kind of larger, you know, flat panels, I guess you'd say. But I mean, you know, very similar in every other way. Charging ports are the same, right? Both on the side, very easy to charge. Just fantastic lights. It just has, you know, different purposes, and we'll see that again when we get to the beam shots here. But the V6, 2,000 lumens for $50. The V5, 2,676 lumens for $62.99. All right, so let's check out the Olight Warrior Mini 2. All right, so you can see this one has the magnetic charging on the bottom. Push that in. We also have the side button, which also has a light indicator. All right, push and hold to change your modes. We have low, medium, and high. Double click for turbo. Now at any point in time you can triple click for strobe. All right, and also when this is off you can long press to turn that on to the lowest mode. And this light also has an 18650. This one's 3500 milliamp. And next up is the Olight Warrior 3S. Right, this also has a tail switch and a side switch. As you can see, a theme appearing here in comparing these different flashlights. All right, this one does have mode indicators, and you can see after testing this one is low, so I'm gonna have to charge this up. All right, so you can see the battery power, it has 1, and this is going to be your output. So there's 4 output levels, but because of the low battery power, it's only going to allow me to change between low and medium. All right, we can't see the high in the turbo here. All right, but that is a very good thing to have on the side there, because without it, you might wonder, well, where's our higher modes? So it's kind of an interesting feature. This also has a proximity sensor, that black dark spot on the top here, so if you're too close, it will cut the power down. All right, let's pop this guy open real quick and take a look at the battery source. This one is a bigger battery from the others. This one's rocking a 21700, and this one's 5000 milliamp hours. And next up here, we have the Fenix PD35. This is the V3.0, or third version of this light. All right, also side switch, tail switch. All right, this one also has the wings like the ThruNite, which is nice. Okay, for tail standing, again, this one, unfortunately, the button pushes out. All right, let me compare that to the BSS V6 here. All right, give you a side comparison. So this one with the wings, it's capable of tail standing, but this one is not, because the rubber is rounded and protrudes out. All right, so this is more just there to have your lanyard holes, as well as maybe on a flat surface, prevent it from turning on constant. You can, as I push down against a flat surface, you can see it turns on, but if it falls over, which it would if you let go of it, it does not stay on. All right, in the case of the ThruNite, you can see it does not accidentally turn on. All right, so having these wings, it's important to point out that it is done right on the ThruNite, but not so much on the Fenix. All right, so you turn this on by just clicking the tail switch. Of course, it does have a power indicator on the side. Side switch, again, it's going to change our modes here. Long press is going to be the strobe, as you saw there, that I accidentally pushed. But as I just single push through the modes here, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then it'll cycle back. All right, so yeah, pretty straightforward light. Let's go ahead and pop this open, take a look at our battery. This one is rocking an 18650, all right, which is also rechargeable on the side of the battery itself. This one's a 2600 milliamp hour. So I just want to point out the fact that with this Fenix here, you cannot charge this without removing the battery. You have to take the battery out to charge the battery itself. All the other lights on the table, with the exception of the Streamlight, do charge without taking the battery out. So speaking of the Streamlight, here we have it. This again is the Streamlight ProTac HL-X. All right, you can see that we have a tail switch, but we do not have a side switch, nor do we have a charging port. Okay, so this is a real simple light. This is programmable. That might be for another video, but you hit the tail switch, turn on, and that is it. All right, you could do a half press to cycle through high, low, and the strobe, as you saw there, but it's not very consistent. All right, so there's the strobe. Let's try to get to just low. There's low. I find that when using this light and testing, occasionally I'll try to get to a mode, and it's kind of difficult. It depends on how much pressure you push in. I much prefer, again, all these other lights that are on the table where you have side switches, so it's a very simple click and you're definitely changing the modes. When you have mode changing that's half press, it really depends on the person using it, the user, how much pressure you're putting on there, whether you're actually changing the mode or you're not, and how fast you do it as well. If you do it really slow, you can see it's not actually cycling through. You have to have a certain speed to cycle through. But then if you're too fast, you're going to miss it. So it becomes a little more difficult to change those modes. All right, let's pop this tail cap off, take a look at the battery. This one needs a little bit of oil. All right, again, this is just like our Fenix, where we have to charge the battery itself. All right, so Streamlight branded battery, and this one is a 2600 milliamp hour. All right, even though it doesn't say it on here, that I can see, this is an 18650 in size. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put all these lights on charge, especially the Olight Warrior 3S that was dead. Whenever I do these beam shots, all the flashlights are on full power, full charge, okay, to be consistent. All right, so once I do that, we'll head outside, check out some beam shots. All right, so first up, the BSS V6. Okay, I'm going to go up and down, left and right. Now the BSS V5. Okay. Next up, we have the Olight Warrior Mini 2. Make sure it's on turbo. Up, down, left, and right. All right, next up here, the Fenix PD35. Next up, the Olight Warrior 3S. Down, left, and right. And last up, the Streamlight ProTac HL-X. Up, down, left, and right. Alright guys, so now you saw the beam shots, you can get a better understanding on how these are projecting that light. So the brightest flashlight on the table here is the older V5 version of the BSS from ThruNite. At $63, we have 2,676 lumens, which is very impressive compared to the most expensive light on the table here, the Warrior 3S from Olight. So for $120, you're getting 2,300 lumens, so a little bit less light and a much higher price tag, almost 50% more. The V6 is very cool because it does have that lower price tag of $50, so it's very budget conscious. What ThruNite does very well compared to a lot of other flashlight brands is they give you a lot of light and a lot of options for a much lower price. And I think the V6 version here nailed that in the fact that it is cheaper. Now it does have a slightly less output than the V5, but obviously you can compare that yourself with the beam shots. The Streamlight on the end here, I think, is the hardest to deal with. I mentioned that before, just in changing the different modes. You know, of course, if that's the light you're used to using, maybe it's not a big deal. But for me, every time I pick it up and comparing and doing all these different testing and stuff, I always find that it's just difficult to get those modes. Plus, I'm just not a huge fan of, again, both these lights here, the Fenix and the Streamlight, the fact that I have to take the battery out in order to charge it. So, just personal preference. But anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys are new to the ThruNite channel, they have product giveaways all the time. It is completely free. All you have to do to enter is comment on these videos and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.